It started on a Thursday morning, the kind of morning where the city hums just beneath the surface, and sunlight cuts sharply across the buildings. Dr. Evelyn Harper, a therapist with nearly 15 years of experience, was already at her office, reviewing notes from the previous day. Her office was quiet, a sanctuary she had arranged with careful intention, soft amber lighting, chamomile in the diffuser, and the faint scent of old books. It was predictable, controlled, safe. That morning, however, there was a tension she couldn't place. A shadow in the edges of her perception that didn't belong. It began with Nathan. He was a new patient, referred by a former colleague. Early 30s, polite, articulate, and careful with his words. On paper, he seemed unremarkable, IT professional, no criminal record, no obvious trauma. But from the first session, there was something in his gaze that unsettled her. Not overtly threatening, but intense. He didn't just listen, he seemed to absorb every detail, study the room, and catalog her mannerisms. Evelyn chalked it up to her imagination. Observant patients weren't unusual. Nathan's sessions were smooth, unnervingly so. He spoke with precision, revealed just enough to seem vulnerable, but never enough to truly know him. And he asked questions about morality, boundaries, even her routines. Not overtly invasive, but pointed in ways that lingered after the session ended. Evelyn reminded herself, stay professional. She had seen curious patients before. Nothing about him demanded alarm. Weeks passed. Nathan's presence began to weigh on her, subtly at first. And then came the first real clue. Evelyn parked in the same lot every day, a routine she had maintained for years. One afternoon, returning from lunch, she thought she saw him, Nathan, or someone identical, walking across the lot, though not toward the office. Just standing there, looking in her direction. She blinked. It had to be someone else. Yet her chest tightened with recognition. That night, Evelyn replayed her day in her mind. She noticed small, unsettling details she hadn't before, the way Nathan angled his chair during sessions, almost as if he anticipated exits, how he remembered trivial details about her life she never shared. She tried to rationalize it. Therapists were trained to notice patterns. He could simply be observant. Then came the message. A single line on her personal email, I enjoyed our last session. Can't wait to see you again. No signature, no clue about the sender. The timing was what made her stomach knot, it arrived the morning after Nathan's session. Her pulse quickened. It could have been anyone. Anyone with access to her contact information. But the coincidence felt deliberate, almost intimate. She told herself it was paranoia. She tried to push the unease aside, went out that weekend for dinner with a colleague, hoping routine would reset her sense of safety. But on the street, she felt it again, the prickling awareness of someone observing, steps that seemed to pause when she glanced over her shoulder. No one seemed out of place, yet every shadow carried implication. The following week, Nathan began to test boundaries subtly. He asked about her commute, favorite cafes, even which streets she preferred walking. Evelyn deflected cautiously, but it was clear, he remembered details she hadn't shared. A new pair of shoes. A book she left on her nightstand. These were small things, but together, they suggested more than coincidence. During one session, he said something that froze her. You like order, he said quietly. Routines. Predictability. It makes life safer, doesn't it? Evelyn's hands tightened on her notebook. She had never spoken of this out loud, to anyone. How could he know? Yes, she said. I find comfort in consistency. He nodded as if pleased with her answer. There was a weight behind his calm that unsettled her, a subtle claim she couldn't ignore. The small coincidences escalated. Shadows in shop windows seemed to mirror her movements. Footsteps behind her would fade when she turned. Packages appeared outside her apartment door. Nothing illegal, nothing overtly threatening. But enough to make her feel followed, watched. Friends dismissed her fears as imagination. Yet, the unease persisted, tangible and inescapable. One night, staying late at the office, she noticed a movement in the reflection of her window. A shadow, barely visible, standing outside. Her heart raced. She reached for the intercom. Silence. When she looked again, nothing. The police advised caution, documenting every interaction, and suggested cameras. Evelyn followed their guidance. Cameras went up. Locks were checked. Routines subtly shifted. But the tension remained, gnawing at her even in familiar spaces. When sessions resumed, every word from Nathan felt loaded. He noticed her careful movements. One day, he remarked casually, "You seem tense. You're hiding something." Evelyn froze, her pulse spiking. What could he possibly know? Then came the coffee shop. She went there deliberately, thinking a public space might feel safer. He was there, alone, reading a book. He looked up the moment she entered. Their eyes met, and a chill ran through her. He had no reason to know she came here. Later, she checked the camera outside her apartment. Someone matching Nathan's description passed by at the precise time she arrived. Again, nothing overt, nothing criminal. Just presence. Enough to remind her that he was patient, careful, calculating. Evelyn's life began to shrink around her fears. She noticed shadows in reflections, lingering glances, people who paused too long in her periphery. Sleep became fragmented. Focus, fleeting. Still, she continued documenting, maintained professionalism, and tried to preserve normalcy. One rainy evening, Nathan said something that made her blood run cold. "You don't really know me," he said softly, "but I know you." It sounded casual, but the weight behind it was suffocating. He had crossed every professional boundary without committing a crime. And yet, the primal, instinctive fear it produced was undeniable. Evelyn decided to confront him. In a session, she asked, "Nathan, have you followed me outside the office?" He tilted his head slightly, a ghost of a smile on his lips. "I told you," he said, voice calm, deliberate. "I know you." No denial. No admission. Just that sentence, hanging in the room like smoke, filling every corner of her office. She ended the session early, formally canceling the next one. But the fear didn't fade. Nathan didn't contact her immediately, yet the sense of being observed remained. Weeks became months. Evelyn shifted routines, even considered relocating her practice. She never saw Nathan in the office again. Still, the awareness of someone watching persisted, invisible but undeniable. Late at night, in the soft glow of streetlights through her bedroom window, she caught movement in her mirror's reflection. A shape, faint and fleeting, as if someone was cataloging her life from just beyond her vision. She told herself it was the light, imagination, nothing real. But deep down, she knew better. Because some eyes, once trained on you, don't truly look away. And she had felt them.